District School Board to order at 7 o'clock. This is going to be our organization meeting. We do have with us tonight Joe Adams from the Boy Scouts and a number of scouts who will be observing this evening in participation of earning their citizenship and community badge. And I would like to ask them to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. So if we can all stand. Scouts?
Starts with I.
I. Gentlemen, I.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. First order of business tonight will be a school board reorganization, and the process we will utilize is the following. First thing we have to do is elect a chairperson. I will open the floor for nomination of the chairperson. I will then accept the nomination and ask for a second. I will then call for discussion. I will then call for a vote. If the nomination fails to achieve a required majority, I will open the floor again for a nomination and repeat the process. Our attorney has advised us we should handle one nomination at a time. During the discussion phase, a board member is free to speak for or against the nomination and indicate if the nomination fails, they would nominate another specific individual. Once the chairperson is elected, the chairperson will take over the meeting and conduct the election of vice chairperson in the same manner. All right? I'd like to now open up the floor for nominations.
Mr. Superintendent, I nominate George Herman for chairman.
I second it.
Second by Ben. Any discussion?
I have discussion. George, I think we all know and the community knows you've started a new job, and I just want to ask if you're
Yes.
comfortable with this.
Yes, I think this year I'd be fine with it. Let's see what happens next year. And the year after.
Great.
Thank you.
Thanks for that.
All right, I have a nomination. I have a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Hearing none? Congratulations, Mr. Herman.
Thank you.
Take my little name and go away.
All right, well, thank you, gentlemen, for your confidence. I appreciate that.
You want to move over one?
No, it's fine.
Okay.
Done enough musical chairs this
Today.
evening. That's right. That's right. Exactly. Okay, we will now move on to election of a vice chair, and I'll open the floor for nominations of vice chair.
Mr. Chairman, I nominate Ben Parker.
And I've got a nomination for Mr. Parker. Have I got a second?
Second?
Thank you, Mr. Young. I have a nomination and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Congratulations, Mr. Parker. Comments, but we'll get by. Okay. Thank you all. Let's see. We've got appointments.
Mr. Chairman, I recommend Officer Donald Leduc for reappointment as attendance officer.
Okay, do we need a motion on that? maybe?
So move.
Second.
All those in favor of Donald Leduc as the attendance officer?
Aye.
5-0.
Mr. Chairman, I recommend Mary Soares as secretary to the board.
So move.
Second, discussion?
Let's have a second for discussion, please, Mr. Young.
I just would like to say that Mary's been with us for a few years now, and for those of you that don't have a chance to pore through the minutes, they are extremely accurate, and I think that the entire board would commend her for the efforts that she makes on making sure that they are.
Outstanding job.
You really do a great job, Mary. Thank you very much. And with that, I'll take a vote. All those in favor of reappointing Mary Soares as secretary?
Aye.
Aye. Unanimous. And moving right along.
Mr. Chair, I move that we
Yes.
adopt current policies and regulations.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor of readoption of the current policies and regulations?
Aye.
Aye.
5-0. And then I've got questions, announcements, and presentations, but before I do get to that, I do have a couple of announcements, and I would just like to announce this evening that the board has accepted the recommendation of the superintendent, and we will hereby appoint Greg Warren as the assistant principal at Londonderry High School, beginning with next year's term. So congratulations, Greg, and I'm sure Matthew Thornton is going to miss you.
I still think it's an elaborate scheme to create a vacancy for Jim Elefante.
Oh, I don't know. You want to come back, Jim? I'm thinking not. Yeah, I'm thinking not. Another announcement along the same terms is Bess Arnold will be appointed as the SPED director at Londonderry Middle School. So congratulations, Bess. Thank you very much. And with that, we have Kelly with some quilts. So if you, oh, there you are. I didn't see you sitting there. Come on up.
Good evening. I'd like to thank Superintendent Weaver and the board for having us here this evening. I am Kelly DeGear. I'm an English teacher at the high school, and one of the classes I teach is Literature and Composition 9. The students behind me are going to speak to you this evening about a project that we undertook. As a teacher, you often hope that you can inspire your students with some projects throughout the year that will give credence to your curriculum, and I think that this is certainly one of them. I would like the students to stand so that I can introduce them all, and then they will come up in groups to share their experience with you. Beginning over here, if the students could stand, we have Samantha Yuva, Kelly Chase, Nick Kissel, Mike Rush, Nicole Butchman, Riley Bartlett, Heather Paltanovich, and Cody Gallant. I'd like to begin. We have two classes. We have the morning A period and we have the afternoon G period class. I'd like to call up Kelly Chase and Cody Gallant, who are going to speak to you about the process we undertook in the A period Literature and Composition 9 class.
Could I get Dr. Susi to bring the lights up a little bit?
We started by reading this book
Sure.
called Night John.
Could you hold on one second?
Yes, sorry.
Thanks. Dr. Susi, could you just turn the lights up for us, please? Oh, thank you, Mr. Blunt. I'm sorry.
No problem, I understand.
Undivided attention.
We started by reading this book called Night John, which is about slavery. And we started writing about slavery and how the Underground Railroad quilts helped slavery. And before Night John, we had some background information, so we knew a little bit about slavery before we started reading Night John. And then after that, Mrs. Ferguson came in and did a Harriet Tubman impersonation, and after that, she showed us her beautiful Underground Railroad quilt, and we were really amazed by it. So Mrs. Jagier told us, would you like to make one? And some of us were unsure about that. As you can guess. But we took on the challenge with a little help. Because we wanted it to be an all-charity project, we raised the money by having a bake sale a few days before Thanksgiving. And then we started voting on the colors for each class. This class chose traditional colors of the time period, tans, browns, greens. And then Mrs. Jagier and Mrs. Ferguson bought the fabric. And to help us out, they pre-cut the fabric, so all we were concentrating on was sewing our squares together, and we wouldn't have to concentrate on anything else. And then before you do anything, you always want to practice, because you never know. So we practiced on some scraps. And then after that, for about 2 weeks, broken up periods. Sometimes we can get a little frustrated, so nice to have broken up periods. And we started sewing our individual squares with the help of Mrs. Pullman, an aide in our class, and Mrs. Ferguson, the person that also helped us out through all this project. They helped us assemble the quilts. Sometimes they would cut off extra things. Sometimes they would iron, too. And then someone else who really helped us out through this project is Mrs. Gasman, who is a professional quilter. So she put the pattern. Have you seen? Oh yeah, there we go. She put the pattern, the swirls right there, like that you can see. That makes it look nice, but also really helps it stay together. So she used a professional machine. That's not hand sewn. So she used a professional machine to help us put that together. And she donated her services. Like, she would usually charge money, but she was really nice and donated her services. And so now I'm going to turn it over to Cody, and he's going to tell you some.
Well, when we first started this project, I really didn't think anyone was going to be able to do anything because no one had any experience sewing or quilting or anything. But at the end, everyone's came out pretty good and it's together pretty nice. It's nice to donate stuff for people less fortunate.
So now we're going to give it to Lynn Chase, my mother, of the Community Hospice House in Merrimack, and she's going to speak a little bit about that. We're going to present it.
Hi there.
Hi.
Good evening.
I'm Lynn Chase. I'm the nurse manager at the Community Hospice House. It's based in Merrimack, New Hampshire. Part of Home Health and Hospice Care. Home Health and Hospice Care is a nonprofit agency in their 125th year. So they provide care for people in homes, including hospice care, in nursing homes. We're a freestanding facility, so it's a 10-suite building, so that if people don't, choose to die at home or it's not manageable at home, it's kind of an alternative to a hospital setting. It's like a home-like setting. So we are thrilled. It's geared for end-of-life care, so last week's months of life, and we have lots of homey things in there, and this will be an awesome addition to it. I know many people will be thrilled to enjoy it. Thank you.
Thank you. It's really unbelievable.
It is tremendous. It's beautiful.
Now Nick Kissel and Nicole Butchman will be coming up, telling us about their G period experience.
Hi, I'm Nicole Butchman, and I'm going to tell you about the quote we made for our G period class. We chose different colors. We didn't choose the natural colors. We chose more like young, vibrant colors like the pinks and the greens, because we wanted it to go for, we wanted the quilt to go to a children, like a child or a children's center, and so we chose like younger colors, and our quilt was going to be smaller because our class has a smaller amount of kids in it because of a smaller number. In the beginning of our project, we heard about it from Miss Ferguson because she showed us her quilt, and we were like, that's a whole bunch of high school kids is gonna make a quilt and it's gonna come out nice and all right, yeah, sure. And we started making it, it started coming out nice. Everyone got their squares together, and it took a while for us to actually see the end result because they had to put the background pattern on it so it all stayed together. And once she brought it in, we all saw it and we were like, wow, we are amazed. We were amazed by the end result, by our project, and just seeing a quilt made by a whole bunch of high school students was just like, oh my gosh, like, we made that. Like, it was unbelievable. We were so proud of ourselves. But by the end of it hanging in our library for a good week or so, we were like, we had to figure out who we were going to give it to. And then we decided that we were going to give it to Nick's cousin. So I'm going to introduce Nick Kissel, who's going to tell you a little bit more about that.
I'm Nick Kissel. I just wanted to explain Ms. Jagir's G period English class is we're we're donating our quilt. My cousin is, well, we were just originally actually going to leave it in the library until we found the right person to donate it to. And then I mentioned to Mr. Gear that I have a cousin that's 6 years old, and her name's Rebecca, and she was just diagnosed with leukemia. So we decided we were going to donate it to her. And we took a class vote, and it's pretty unanimous that everybody wanted to give it to her. So we decided we were going to give it to her. So, and it fits her good because it's like pink and very small. So.
Well, that's great. You guys should be very, very proud of yourselves, all of you. I know we sure are. You guys do some great things, and we thank you for that. Is there any questions from the board for our guests?
I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Did you want to call up Riley?
Oh yeah.
One more speaker, please?
And we're gonna have Riley talk. So here's Riley Bartlett.
Well, I'm sorry. Come on up, Riley.
Hi.
Hi.
My connection to the quilt is that my mother and aunt were both diagnosed with breast cancer. My mom had to go through surgery, then radiation about a year ago. But my aunt's cancer was stage 2 and had to go through chemotherapy too, about 7 years ago. And it was very hard for me and my family to go through that, especially with my mom's cancer. I think this quilt is going to someone who needs it in their time of need. When I found out we were giving it to Rebecca, I was very excited because I don't think a 6-year-old should have to go through this cancer. So thank you very much for having and giving us an opportunity to show us our work.
Well, no, thank you for coming. You have no idea what it means to us, so. Any questions? Comments from the board?
Each time I see a group of students come here, they outdo the next group of students. And this is tremendous what you guys have done. And I have to admit, you moved me with the last speech that you told me. I'm a little choked up about that, and I agree. I don't think a 6-year-old should have to go through that. And I think it's just wonderful that the class voted to give her it, to show the love of the class to her and wish her well in her fight as she goes on. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all very much.
I just wanted to let the board know that Rebecca's father wanted to be here this evening to accept the quilt in front of the board. Unfortunately, he couldn't be present, so we will be turning the quilt over and it will go to her family. So once again, thank you very much for giving my students the opportunity to show you the tremendous work that they've done. And for anyone who didn't know, Carolyn Ferguson is a guidance counselor at the high school, and she gave us many, many hours of her service, as did Deb Pullman, who is my educational assistant. So these two women deserve kudos because the kids were gracious and did not mention that I cannot sew. So this is just yet another example of a project that I come up with, and as I said to you earlier, you know, they're a fabulous group of kids and they trusted me on this one, and I'm amazed myself at the results because they did a fabulous job. So thank you again for having us this evening.
Thank you, Kelly.
One positive thing is she can make lines. Very helpful.
I don't see
He's not here.
Representative Hess.
He's not here. Mr. Chairman, I move the consent agenda.
Second.
All those in favor?
Before we-
Discussion?
Yep.
Yeah, before-
Discussion? Yep.
Before we do,
Sorry.
on the consent agenda, we have a few retirements, and I have one I'd like to make special mention of out of the middle school. And based on what's been going around lately with these colds and all that, I'm sure this person's been very busy, so we're not going to let her go to the end of the year, right? Lorraine Reel joined Londonderry School District nursing staff in 1994, and throughout her tenure, she served students from the elementary school through the high school. In all of these endeavors, she's been an incredible professional with great organizational skills and attention to detail, as well as assessment skills. Lorraine is especially committed to maximizing the well-being of each student by promoting student self-advocacy. As a dedicated school nurse, she not only cares for the students' health, but provides them with an educational need to establish long-term healthy lifestyles. Lorraine's and her excellent work ethic will be missed by all her colleagues at Londonderry Middle School and the entire school district nursing staff. I had an opportunity to meet Lorraine on a tour of the school system. The board's lucky enough, along with the budget committee, we get to go on a tour of the schools in the summer. And they were in the office cranking in all of the names and conditions of the students into the computer. And it was late in the evening, but they wanted to make sure that they were set up ahead of time. And it's just that kind of person that really brings and makes a difference in this district. So the entire district wishes her the best and hopes that she enjoys her retirement.
I'd like to note the retirement of Ray Claremont, who's taught in the district since 1976. He came to Matthew Thornton School from North School in 1984. During his time at Matthew Thornton, he has taught 5th grade, 4th grade, pull-out math, and general enrichment math for all students. He is a natural showman and uses humor, creativity, and special hooks to engage his students. He is always at the center of just about anything that is going on in the school. Ray was honored last year by receiving the Greater Manchester Excellence in Education Award. It will be a loss to the school district to say goodbye to a person with 30 years of experience who approaches each year and each new position with the excitement of a brand new teacher. On a personal note, my 2 sons and 1 daughter have gone through Matthew Thornton and knew Ray and worked with him, and I can't say that I blame him that he's bailing just before he has to deal with Shay.
And another retirement we have is Mrs. Claremont. They're going out as a package deal. Jean Claremont is a respected school leader and a master teacher. She's shared her talents and deep dedication with this district for the last 34 years. Jean is especially effective with our behaviorally challenged students because she's clear, fair, and consistent. As a school leader, Jean established our first safety patrol as a vehicle for promoting PBIS student to student. Jean was on the original team that came up with the idea of the annual senior breakfast. She's the backbone of the annual school carnival. Her retirement will definitely leave a void in the workings of the school, but the lasting impression she left with her students will remain with them for many years to come. She's touched the lives of hundreds of children who will never forget Queen Claremont. I don't know how Mr. Claremont feels about that, but we shall see. So we obviously wish Jean all the best, and both the Claremonts will be sorely missed, along with everybody that's retiring this year.
I have one more.
And Mr. Campo.
Yeah, as a North School parent and part of the North School family, we're saying goodbye to our second shift custodian, Kevin Hussey. He's been in the district for 11 years, and he's been on second shift ever since he's joined us. He's a very conscientious worker, and he has a great sense of humor. You know, every time you go into the building for a meeting there, he's there. Hi, how you doing? He's a really nice guy, does a nice job. Wish him well in his retirement there, and congratulations for another retirement. Wish I could be there someday. Okay. Yes, you sure can.
Couple announcements. I'd like to make a couple announcements. So we're going to have some of these individuals at future board meetings, but I did want to mention that our math team won the New Hampshire State Math Championship again. This is 2 years in a row, and we're very proud of them. They received their gold medal, and we want to congratulate them, and we'll have them at a future board meeting. Also want to congratulate our marching band, which once again took the St. Patrick's Day Parade first place. So another kudo to Andy and the marching band. I also would like to congratulate John Fagula, who is our girls varsity basketball coach. John was selected as the Class L Coach of the Year, and we want to congratulate John on that honor. And then, following that, I'd also like to mention, and I don't remember whether it was put in the paper yet or not, but we have been touting our dropout rate for the last year and telling you it was 1%. My math was wrong. It's actually 0.7%. The official figures came out just recently. So for the past year, our dropout rate was less than 1%, 0.7%, which I think is phenomenal considering we're a Class L high school. We have 1,600 students, and I want to thank the high school faculty and staff and administration, and the middle school faculty and staff, and the elementary faculty and staff for all their contributions and in putting in their work with the students and the innovative programs that we've put in place, I think have paid off, and just really thrilled about that. And that's without an 18-year-old compulsory education law.
Yes, it is.
Not that I
So
have
Jason, I
any-
want you to go find that 0.7 of a kid.
Yeah.
So,
Get him into the adult ed if you would. Thanks. And I need a vote on the consent agenda. All those to move it?
So move.
No, we got a motion, we just need a vote. All those
Aye.
in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, I'd just like to mention
Yep.
under meetings that we have a non-public meeting on March 26th at 6 o'clock in the Moose Hill Conference Room. It's not on the agenda.
Thank you. Next public meeting is April the 8th at 7 PM. Meeting after that is April 22nd, 7 PM. Those are both regular meetings here at the town office, and that is dependent on the approval of the school board calendar, which we'll do in a little bit this evening. So with that, we will move to committee reports, and we will start with Lisa.
Hello.
Hi.
Haven't seen you in a while.
I know. We've missed you, too. Well, they've missed me. I don't know which.
Well, the seniors are getting ready for prom. They just sold their tickets, and they're getting ready for all sorts of senior activities, which are rapidly approaching. And the student council attended a workshop in Winnisquam, which they shared with other schools about their leadership techniques and different roles within their school. And again, the band came back from a successful performance in the St. Patrick's Day Parade. And some of the LHS students led judges around LHS who had come to judge LHS as one of the best high schools in New Hampshire. And I participated in that, and the man I led around and brought to a couple classes had been my people-to-people leader. So I traveled to Australia with him. So it was fun to catch up, and all the students that I talked to had nothing but wonderful things to say about the high school. And the drama club just held auditions for their drama this spring, 10 Little Indians, and again, the math team won the state championship again, and I am in awe of them because the math that they can do in their head at the blink of an eye just amazes me. Thank you.
Sure.
I'm sorry.
I may.
You can.
I'd like to congratulate Lisa on an excellent job anchoring local radio coverage of the election night here in Londonderry.
Yes, that's right. Thanks for stepping up.
She did a great job.
Did.
Yeah,
She
filled a
did.
lot of airspace. That was great. I listened. The Moose Hill School sponsored a book fair and pajama night for the students and families of Moose Hill School. The book fair was very successful, and they raised over $1,000 for the school. Thank you to the elementary administrators for taking the time out of their busy schedules to read to the students on those 2 evenings, and everyone had a great time. On March 26th at 7 o'clock, each elementary school will be hosting an information night for parents of incoming first graders. On April 2nd at 7 at Matthew Thornton, Moose Hill will be hosting an information night for parents of incoming kindergarten students. Matthew Thornton Images of Greatness celebration was a complete success. The day of March 19th, students visited classes, and during that evening, parents came in and listened to the kids' presentations, and I know they had a great evening. It's Turn Off the TV Week at Matthew Thornton, so I'm sure nobody's watching tonight. Students will be able to attend evening activities at the school, such as Story Night, which was held tonight and is packed over there. The cars were all over the parking lot. And they're going to have a luau on Thursday night. Elementary District Research Initiative will be presented to all fourth grade teachers during tomorrow's early release time. The process will be walked through with the support of the library media specialists, and sample projects with essential questions will be offered for those teachers. Enrichment clusters begin this Friday at Matthew Thornton and North School for 4th and 5th grade students. All 4 LMS 6th grade teams placed in the top 10 of the Northeast Region Quiz Bowl competition this year. All 6th graders participated in the pre-competition through their reading classes, and based on their team score, 86 students in teams of 2 to 6 were chosen to participate in the final competition. Areas covered were math, geography, government, spelling, science, literature, English, and history. Megan Nason's 6th grade class celebrated Read Across America Day by reading to a 2nd grade class at the Pollard Elementary School via video conference. Everyone had fun and enjoyed listening to some of the old classics like Goodnight Moon. 7th grade science classes are going green again this year. They're researching green topics and presenting to various audiences throughout the community. LMS also celebrated Pie Day as a staff on Friday by bringing in pies to share at lunch, and the students celebrated on Monday by running team and grade level competitions on memorizing the most digits of pi. This is amazing. Eric McCann, a 6th grader, memorized 203 digits. Evan Kern and Tom Beadham from 7th grade memorized 168. And the school-wide winner was Paige Baranis, an 8th grader who successfully recited 209 of the 300 digits she had memorized.
Good Lord.
Even the staff participated, and Kurt Galtieri memorized 200 digits. The event was organized by Lynn Coveney and Amber Vandekar from the 6th and 7th grade math department. I don't know why the kids can't remember their math facts. No, they can do this, jeez. LHS senior Lisa Villani, a student in the AP French language, was the runner-up in the French oratorical contest sponsored by the Richelieu Club of Manchester on March 5th. She was awarded a beautiful certificate and a generous check of $200. The main goal of the Richelieu Club is to support young people and encourage the continued study of French. This year was the first time Londonderry had been included in the invitation to participate. The declining interest from Manchester schools over the past few years led the group to extend their vision beyond the borders of Manchester. The group was thrilled with LHS's interest and expressed a strong desire to be included in future contests. Lisa did a wonderful job with her speech, and although she didn't garner first prize, a number of the members spoke to her personally to commend her on her beautiful accent, which is quite an accomplishment for a non-native speaker. And Carol Camden, Lisa's instructor, participated in a contest for teachers as part of the same event and was runner-up for a free weekend in Quebec. Barbara Mee, Barbara Mee has been selected to present this July at the Delta Kappa Gamma Society Internationals Convention in Chicago. The workshop she will be presenting is called Talk, Travel, and Teach, and will highlight not only her opportunity with the Goethe Institute last summer, but also other opportunities available for teachers to apply to. And Lynn Jackson reports the following events using Read Across America video conferencing that took place at LHS in March. Mr. Paul Dutton's DNF period juniors met with 2 separate first grade classes in Lisbon, New Hampshire, and with first grade students in Huron Park Elementary in Michigan to read from some of their favorite childhood stories. Mrs. Juster's E-period juniors met with 4th grade students from Patton Elementary in Michigan to read some of their stories. And Mr. Dutton's F-period class did a poetry exchange with a class in Linwood, New Hampshire. Mrs. Robinson's video production class participated in a program funded by the PTSO from Rutgers Camden Center for the Arts on Foley art and the history on making sounds for movies and theater. And the last early release day, John Connolly met with high school and PE health teachers and did one of his TV shows focused on education, and they discussed the new course offerings in the PE and health department, and that will begin airing this Thursday on Leo 21. I'm not sure what the times are, but I'm sure you can catch that on bulletin board. And that's it.
Thank you, Pat. Ben? Ron, nothing?
No, I got a bunch.
Oh, good.
Okay, the technology committee met, and one of the items that came up was the elementary platform discussion, and the committee is coming to a conclusion, and they'll be voting at the next meeting on their recommendation on it. And that was a long discussion, whether we should keep Macs in there or PCs in the computers. And I have to give a lot of credit to Ben Loy and Sue Ballard. They did an action research paper that truly did an outstanding job getting faculty information. But what I found most interesting was the student responses to this that gave us a straightforward what they needed and what they were missing and what problems we have in the system. So it was out of the mouth of babes came some information that Mr. Sean needs to work on back there, on there. So that was an excellent piece of work by them, and congratulations to those two people for doing such a super job. Second item I had was the C3 committee. We met last week, and we talked about a couple of things, and most of the stuff should be coming to the board here. We had the elementary science group that's looking at the science curriculum and what they're looking at the program, and that's exciting. We've had the same science program with little modifications for probably going on 12, 13 years, and we're looking at a new program to meet the state standards and to upgrade our program. So they're moving along on that, and that's going along very well. Then we had an outstanding presentation by the middle school science department for 7th, 8th, and 9th, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. If you remember, they revamped their curriculum last year, and they were explaining how they were getting into it and what they were doing. They had a lot of their demonstrations of classwork that they had there, so that was good. That's something that probably should come to the board to show the board where we are with the science program. Staying on curriculum, one of the things that we had is while John did a tape on the physical education program at the high school, I think that would be good for the board to see, to have the teachers come in here and explain that. It's a change from where we were before with going out there and doing football and baseball and basketball and track. It's activities that students can use for the rest of their life to stay in shape, and how we're implementing that at the high school. It was a tremendous program that they did, and I think the children will benefit today, and 20 years from now they'll benefit from that program that they're teaching at the high school to keep us all fit. And I'm one person that probably could have used it back then, but I think they did an excellent job on that. Next one we had was special education, and they met also, and they were talking about the intervention program at the middle school, and that's something that should be coming to the board also at one of the few next meetings to talk about how they've involved this. And instead of going right, and this is a program they're using, instead of going right to special education placement on how they can give students, and it's not only special ed students, it's all students, additional help to get them over the hurdles that they're talking about. If they have a hurdle here, give them that intervention at the early stages and not wait till you go through the process. So that's something that should be explained to the board in another meeting. One other thing is that Art Salidas at the high school is accepting nominations for the Lincoln Award that is given out at the spring assembly each year. If you have a recommendation, get a hold of me or Art, and we'll put it in there. The committee should be meeting over the next several weeks on that. Last item was the Recreation Committee met, and just for the community's input, we had a presentation by a group of men that are starting a youth wrestling program going down, I think it's from first grade up to the middle school, 1st through 5th grade. So that is coming around. They're putting together their paperwork on that. Okay.
All right, thanks, Ron. Steve?
I also was at the special education meeting, and the one thing that I pulled out of that is we had a conversation about the Londonderry High School ACT work opportunities. And this is in its infancy, but to me it was rather exciting, because the concept takes the special education students from the school and through various steps, moves them out into the community to a point where they would be paid independent employment positions. And it interests me because in my own company, we utilize special work groups like this to manufacture our products. They do it for us out in the Midwest, where they assemble these products together and then ship them to us to send to our customers. And to me, an opportunity for these people to make a contribution to the community. It's a great direction that we're headed in. Again, we're in the infancy of it, and I'm sure we'll hear more about it in the future. But as we get these kids out, I think that's a great thing. And these kids that will be adults, as they get out and have real jobs, that'll be a great thing. Also went to the Communications Committee meeting, and the conversation was focused around an internal questionnaire on how we do internal communications and how we can do them better. One of the big conclusions of that meeting was that the questionnaire in itself may be a good tool to help and have people have an understanding of the different methods there are to communicate within the district. So we'll report on that again next time. Had the pleasant opportunity to participate in a session with Ron at the high school, and we were interviewed by a committee looking at Londonderry High School as a high school of the year. Selection seemed pretty simple to me. But I guess there's other high schools that are in the running. So it was nice to see the staff present, and especially the students. They were in our meeting talking about leadership, and frankly, that's what it's all about. Even better was in the old school section, right on top of the wood. There was an internal running team that kept running around the school, down the hallway in the meeting. And to me, I thought that was great because it just showed the participation that we have in the school to the selection committee. And that's it for my meetings.
All right, thanks, Stephen. John, welcome. We'll get to you in a couple weeks, because I'm
I'll be
sure
here.
we'll have things for you to talk about. And Ron, you had one more.
One more item on the technology committee. I'm going to put a plug in for email addresses. What we're doing at Matthew Thornton is a pilot program of having a school-wide email to parents. So if there's an important announcement to go out, the announcement goes out by the principal, it goes out to the school. We're collecting email addresses at all the schools, and this is going to be a district-wide item that we're coming up with a policy now of what should be sent out on this, what shouldn't be sent out on this, not to bombard the parents with a whole bunch of stuff, but to give them some important information on what's happening. So there's more to follow on that, but it's really exciting. As Nate says, we're going green, and this is another step, another way to communicate with parents with an email address. They may not be getting a phone call, they're not home or whatever. This is just another means to communicate. Not that we're getting rid of any of the other means, we're just adding one more tool to our arsenal to communicate with parents. Thank you.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
I'd just like to make one comment. This is our first board meeting since the election, and on behalf of the administration, faculty, and staff, I just want to thank the community for their support in approving the budget that was proposed in the South School project and our maintenance trust article. It's greatly appreciated, and we want to thank the community for that support.
Thanks, Nate, and the board echoes that. Indeed. All right, curriculum, core reading? Yes. Mr. Clark?
Point of order.
Absolutely. We're very informal here, we don't need points of order.
I just want to know when it would be appropriate to make an initial comment about what hopefully will be on the agenda for every meeting till we get the right answer, so to
Afraid
speak.
to ask. Well, you're already there, so why don't you just go right ahead and continue?
Okay. Last year, well, first of all, the Taxpayers Association has met every month, and they have decided that they'd throw me in the middle here and try and get you to lower the 500 level for the deliberative session. That being said, I will tell you that my own opinion as a taxpayer in the Taxpayers Association is that should be whoever comes should vote. Makes no difference how many come, whether it's 100 or 5,000. They should all be able to vote. However, as you all have set 500, I think that as we have not had 500, I think that we should get it down to at least 300. And again, personally, I would say anyone that comes. But I want you all to talk it over at any meeting you want and see if you can get some feedback from people that hopefully will be behind me whom I don't know whether they are because I can't crick my neck around. But it's very important to me that more people get involved with both the school board and the town. We got 293 at the town, which I believe to be a high for the last 5 years. And I want to get 2,000 involved with the town. I want to get 2,000 involved with the school too. But we have to start somewhere talking about lowering the absolutes so that we can at least get it down to a manageable figure. 293 was the high this year. If you go for 300, that's up to you. If you go for 0 or anyone that comes, that's up to you. Everything is up to you. I'm just talking about what the taxpayers talked about last night and the 4 months before that. Get it down to a manageable figure and see whether we can get more people there somehow. The thing I noticed that there were 3 other things going on at the deliberative session. There were 3 other things going on, maybe even more, on Saturday. So what we've got to do is try and scuttle everything Friday nights and Saturday mornings to accept what the state mandates us to do because of basketball and football stuff. So try and work it out and put it on the agenda so we can really come and talk about it. Okay?
Well, thank you. I know.
I'll accept any comments you have
Well,
for or against.
And that's fine. What I was going to say is I know that we've asked on Friday nights and Saturdays that the school district does not schedule anything,
We
so.
didn't schedule a thing.
Absolutely correct. I mean, I know that
Well,
we
I
didn't.
didn't say you did.
No, I'm just following on what you were saying, Mr. Clark. And I personally would much rather see us get 500 people to the school district, which you did mention about raising participation, and
Right.
I'd much rather see many, many more people there as well. I don't know that the solution is reducing the number. I'm not convinced of that. I know we've talked about it informally. I don't know that it's been, in my 3 years, I don't know that we've talked about it formally, and frankly, other than, quite honestly, you bringing that up, no one has said to me, and no one else has approached this board, to my knowledge, asking for it to be reduced to another number. And I know you represent an organization. I don't know the size of that organization. I couldn't tell you how many people are in it. Couldn't tell you how many people you represent in that 500 number, or rather in that request to reduce the 500 number. But
Well,
you know,
all I can tell you is I know how many people, I'm the treasurer, so I know how many people paid their dues. But
I understand.
yeah, but
Understand.
that's not the point. The point is, not to be rude, because I don't think I am rude.
You're not.
But the thing is, you've got to educate. There's only 2 states that have this type of. Finish. 2 states that have this type of organization, and when they come from Nebraska, Hawaii, anywhere, and they have a different type of way they handle finances, it's fair. It seems fair to me that they should come and try, at least get their feet wet once before they start going to a charter and changing it. And that's going to be my goal.
Okay.
It has been my goal since 1989, but 1989 it worked. It worked till 97, actually, when we moved here. It worked till when we moved here. So,
As you know, Mr. Clark, you are always welcome to make comments, as is any other member of the public, so.
I'm waiting for Ron to say something.
Just a couple of things. First of all, it wasn't the school board that set the 500 number. It was a charter commission, and they
Charter
voted on it,
commission,
and the people voted on it and accepted it. Second thing is, when we had town meeting for the school district, and you were there, and we were going through some of the building proposals back in the early 90s, I think we hit a high of somewhere around 1,900 people, where they were threatening to close down the high school for any more people. So we had the people there at that time. When we went and a petition was presented to us to go to Senate Bill 2, which the voters voted on by greater than 60% margin, is when the attendance at the deliberative session went down, but the voting on our budget and the candidates went up from the numbers that were there, 600, 700, 800, and 1,800 at that meeting, up to 25, which I think is a low, and up to 5,500 on some other occasions. So the people that vote on the budget, there's a greater number of the registered voters that vote on the budget on there. Should the number be lower? I've tried once before to drop it down, and I was unsuccessful. I support a 300 number, but what we're saying is we're condoning apathy by just keeping going down. The reason that number was put in there, a number for a chart for it, was at the time we were having the charter commission, there were several towns that had only about 9 people there or 10 people at the meeting, and disrupted the whole process by changing the budget around. And that was the side that both sides in the charter commission, and there was a difference of opinions, agreed there should be a charter number. In fact, the 500 number came up. It was not my number. It was someone else's number that came up there. Just some history on the charter commission.
There's always going to be people like me that'll disrupt and carry on.
And anyone else? Steve?
Ron summed it up.
I'll take disagreement with your statement that you've disrupted the meeting. You're about the only citizen that's attended our meeting, and I appreciate that.
Well, here, thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Reed. All righty. Curriculum, the core reading report.
Mr. Blunt?
Blunt. And our projectionist, Mr. Currow. Mark brought the troops with him
I
tonight.
did.
Expecting a rough crowd, are you?
Oh, no, not at all. Good evening, and thank you, members of the board. As promised, when the board approved the Scott Forsman Reading Street program, I told you we'd be back about this time this year to give you an update on student progress, classroom experiences, a snapshot into how our kids are performing with the new program, and so on. So it's kind of a 3-part presentation this evening. I plan on presenting, first of all, the units 1 through 3 benchmark data. Sharon Cullivan this evening, our North School reading teacher, will be discussing elementary writing that's based on the new program. She'll be walking the board through some sample anchor papers, toolkits that the reading department put together and distributed to teachers. I'll also be also this evening joining me our veteran pilot teachers that have been in the program now for their 2nd year. We have Julie Blanchett at Moose Hill from kindergarten. Julie. We also have Sharon Cornelison, North School 1st grade teacher. Karen McCarty, 3rd grade South School teacher. Gail Gumble. Gail's not here yet. She's representing 4th grade this evening for Matthew Thornton. Martha Miller from South School representing 5th grade. Just to take you through the unit benchmark results, if I could have the board members, if you could There was a piece in your packet this evening, if you could get out. On the cover, you'll find in your packet the various areas of instruction and assessment pieces that have been administered on the unit benchmark assessments. At kindergarten, we have assessed areas in letter naming, rhyming, high-frequency word, character, initial sounds, letter, sound, correspondence, setting, and main idea. The primary grades 1 through 3 areas of instruction and assessment have included comprehension, high-frequency words, vocabulary, phonics, grammar usage, and mechanics. While at the upper grades, grades 4 and 5, the area of focus continues to be on comprehension, vocabulary, grammar usage, and mechanics. Let's look at more carefully at the raw data. If you could look at the back of your packet. The benchmark assessments as designed have 4 categories. There is advanced, above level, on level, and below level. Your reports show unit number at the top, the grade level in which it was administered, the number tested from each of the unit assessments, and as well at the top you'll see the average writing scores for each of the grade levels. Below this information are the all elementary results for each section of the assessments. Overall, students in our first full year have shown steady and consistent growth in many of the areas. One of the consistent patterns that we have noted across grades 1 through 3 is in the area of grammar, usage, and mechanics. And we brought this up at C3 in our last meeting, that this is one of the areas that we feel is an area that needs continued improvement. As pilot teachers will elaborate further this evening, because most of the district's students are in the program for the first time, classroom teachers have been spending additional time in front-loading and have placed a renewed focus on grammar and mechanics skills. As all students become stronger in their skills from one grade level to the next, there will be less need for teachers to front-load, and we should see overall academic improvement in the grammar and mechanics area. Additionally, in your packet, you'll find graphs. There's a graph section. The graphs in your packet represent all 3 units to date. The bar graph represents all students tested on level and above. Peter's going to bring up the first slide this evening. It is the kindergarten slide. And just for the viewers at home, because I couldn't put all the names out fully on the chart, the first one is letter naming. The second one, the R, is rhyming. HFW is high frequency words. The fourth one in is the C is character. The next one is initial sounds. Followed by that is letter sound correspondence, setting, and main idea. Most of the categories at kindergarten, since they are developing a number of these areas and skills, you'll note that just a few of them, like high frequency words, initial sounds, letter sound correspondence, has been repeated across at least 2 or 3 of the unit assessments to date, and shows that a number of our kids are performing on level or above in these areas.
Mark, I'm sorry.
Yes.
May I ask a quick question?
Go ahead.
I must have missed the explanation of what the 3 different units are. Could you summarize that?
There are, so far to date, the We use the Scott Forsman Reading Street Unit Benchmark assessments that were designed by the publisher. These assessments are given up to 6 times a year across all of the grade levels, K through 6, or K through 5, excuse me. The publisher, Scott Forsman, in 2007 had the unit assessments validated by an outside evaluation service for their validity and reliability. We use these assessments to give us a snapshot of how kids are performing in the curriculum over time. It also gives our teachers instant feedback on how they can plan for their instruction on a regular basis rather than waiting for the annual NECAP results to come back or for the once-a-year Iowa assessments. So that's just a little bit of the background.
A unit is a period of time or a period element of the curriculum?
Excuse me?
A unit is a period of time or an element of the curriculum?
A unit is a period of time, and it's generally, Pat, excuse me, it's around 6 weeks,
Okay,
typically. Yep. Okay. Ben.
To follow up on John's question, you'd mentioned in the preface that you had seen growth in the students' performance. Is that going to be something you show us here, or is that just not an adequate choice of words? Or
May not be an adequate choice of words, but you know, if you look at, for example, just in this K slide, the high frequency words, the curriculum, and the teachers will tell you that are here tonight, it is a curriculum that spirals. So a number of the skills are reinforced. The difficulty, complexity goes up from unit to unit. With this kindergarten slide, you can see high frequency words have been tested on every unit to date. And it does give a good picture, or gives at least a snapshot of how our kids are performing in the curriculum pertaining to high frequency words. At this point, those results at this point show that we're in the low to mid 90s on the high frequency words as kindergartners develop those skills. But I can point out to a few additional slides that I've put together. If we could just go to grade 3, Peter, this evening. Okay. Okay, Peter brings this slide up. Grade 3, basically, as you can see, the 4 categories, comprehension, vocabulary, phonics, grammar usage, and mechanics, are repeatedly tested from units 1 to 3. Overall, our results are strong results. It shows strong results in phonics. We do have lower results in vocabulary due to the level of difficulty of the words. In the area of comprehension, which I do want to point this out, we have seen steady improvement until Unit 3. The teachers at grade 3 tonight will tell you that this particular benchmark assessment was very challenging, particularly the wording for comprehension items on this particular unit assessment. We're currently seeking a response from Scott Forsman on the comprehension section of Unit 3 to determine whether there are possible test item design issues or if the items are validly designed as intended. We also saw this same drop off at grade 5 in the Unit 3 assessments, but we are seeking answers from the publisher on this particular issue with the unit assessments at grade 3 and 5. Yes?
So, are these the kind of numbers that we should expect to see? I mean, it seems like it's skewed.
Typically, Ben, to answer your question, the reason why, and we've talked about this among teachers across the 3 schools. I've talked it over with our elementary administrators, and typically at this point in the year, you would generally see in the area of comprehension steady or improved growth in comprehension skills, particularly grade 3 and 5. So it raised a flag for us, and that's why we have contacted the publisher to see if indeed this has been an issue with other schools that are using the unit benchmark assessments, particularly in this area of comprehension that we've noted. So we'll get answers and report back on that.
Mark, if I can just ask you a quick logistics question, since Ben asked about the
Yep.
other question I had. I'm looking at this graphic, and I'm seeing that that's reading units, but I have no raw data.
You have raw data. Actually,
Looking at the raw data,
Yeah.
I see writing. So what am I missing?
let me explain once again. The raw data, you have 4 categories in the raw data. You have advanced,
Right,
you have above level,
right,
you have on level,
right,
and you have below level.
right.
These
Not seeing the-
these graphs that I have put together is based off of the raw data that is in your packet.
That's what I'm saying.
Yep.
Okay.
What the slides represent, the percentages for units 1, 2, and 3, it shows the combined score of on level and above. So I'm showing you the overall results of combining the advanced, above level, and on level data.
Okay, so what you're telling me, I understand that, but I have no raw scale here.
The raw scale,
The writing.
yep.
raws.
The raw
These are
scale,
reading graphs.
yep. If
Okay.
you look,
I'm trying to match it, I'm not adding up,
I
and
understand.
that's fine.
The raw scale at the top, if you're asking,
Just the overall writing, it's not necessarily hitting for the graph, for the data.
if you're asking me the raw scale at the top in your raw data, advanced is 95 to 100. Is that what you want? Okay.
I'm sorry. Look at the heading, grade 3 core reading units.
Yes.
3. When I flip back and I look at the raw data, now Pat was just going over, that the fact that grade K, for example, number tested 309, average writing scale, it's not indicative, it's not really writing, it's a combination of writing and reading. I'm just trying
No.
to find the
Oh,
correlation between the
I
word reading
understand.
and the word reading here.
I know what your question is. In the raw data,
Yeah,
as I was going through, and I was probably going too fast, at the very top, and this was came from Tom's system. The very top is the average writing scale for that particular unit. So you're looking at the very top of the raw data. So kindergarten or grade 1, I'll just use grade 1,
Okay.
unit 1. I believe you have in your packet the writing average was 3.39.
Yep.
That is writing only.
okay.
In the boxes below is the core reading unit assessment results and those sections. So under grade 1, you have comprehension, high frequency words, phonics, grammar usage, and
The
mechanics.
connection I wasn't able
Yep,
to
the
make.
writing is separate and it's at the top because it's a rubric score.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Okay?
Yeah.
Okay. So basically, it does show that we're making some progress on these categories. Again, the comprehension piece at grade 3 and 5, we are seeking the national consultants from the publisher to respond to the issues that we're seeing there on the comprehension piece. The last slide, I believe I was going to bring up, or the next slide, I was going to bring up grade 4. The grade 4 slide, and I believe maybe the pilot teachers will mention this. The Unit 3 assessment that was administered last year at grade 4, there was some adjustment made by the publisher, as a result, you can see really in this slide it does show some nice progress in the 3 areas assessed: comprehension, vocabulary, grammar usage, and mechanics from Unit 1 to Unit 3. And that's what we like to see across all of the grade levels. The last slide that I'm going to show this evening is the overall those overall writing averages that George was asking me to show him on the raw data. This just gives you a bar graphic representation. It's in book 3, Peter. It just gives you a bar graph of the overall results by grade level from grades 1 to 5 and the average writing results. And as you can see there, there's some slight ups and downs, and I think probably the reading pilot teachers and Mrs. Cullivan will tell you that those ups and downs can vary depending on the interest level of the prompt from the students, as well as the degree of complexity in which those prompts are designed on the unit benchmark assessments. In closing, it's important for the board and the audience to understand that our students and teachers are in the first full year of the new program. The unit assessments are an important component as it gives teachers rapid feedback on what kids have learned and not learned compared to the annual state kneecap reading assessment and the Iowa test that gauge student learning on an annual basis. As we move toward year 2 in the new program, we will continue to monitor progress and adjust our pacing to better service the needs of our students. For the next segment on writing, I'd like to introduce Sharon Cullivan, who will discuss writing, the anchor paper samples, and some of the toolkit components for the program.
Hi, Mark.
Hi, you. Hi.
I haven't gone green yet, so I have a folder for all of you.
Do we need a number 2 pencil?
No. Red one would
You
help.
can shut that down.
Yeah, I was going to talk about 3 parts of the writing. Yes.
Just 2?
That's fine. That's perfect. I was going to talk about 3 parts of the writing program. The first part, and I took 3rd grade, but what you see in 3rd grade was done for 1st grade all the way through 5th. And I'd like to show you how we set up the goals and objectives based on not only the core program, but also your benchmarks that were established in writing, which tie into the state benchmarks for writing at each grade level. And so if you look at the first page that I gave you, it will say writing grade 3. And at the top of it, these are the requirements that we're asking of all teachers, actually at every level. We would like them to do the unit assessment in writing. That's after every 6 weeks. I'm going to show you what they are at each unit. It's a different type of writing for each unit that the core program has established. The unit writing workshop is the teaching part. So they teach it, and then the children do the assessment at the end. For example, if they are doing a comparing and contrasting piece of writing in nonfiction, the workshop will introduce how to do it, will give the teachers all the skills to teach the lesson, and then in the benchmark test, they will have to write a comparing and contrast paper. So that's what the unit workshop is. One other piece of writing is required. So within a 6-week period, we would like the children to teach 2 different genres of writing, one being the one that's connected with the core program and the workshop. The other one would be connected with the benchmarking, because we had to make sure that even though we put in a core program, we were also meeting the genres on each grade level that was established by the state, which we pulled for your local benchmarking. So that's why there's 2 different genre types of writing that we would like the teachers to do within a 6-week period of time. And then the last one is called Look Back and Write, and in your anthology at the end of each story, there is a question that is posed about the story. It's called Look Back and Write. It tells the children, it directs them to go back to a particular page in their anthology and to answer the question with as many details as they can. This prepares the children to do an open response on their state testing, the kneecaps, as well as the children that have to do the writing on the Iowa. We have noticed, Mrs. Colton went through a lot of the kneecap testing, and this is an area that we really needed to work on and develop. And hopefully by doing this on a weekly basis, I asked the teachers, first of all, to model it for the students and then to write it. And hopefully this will improve the open response writing. And so those were the 4 requirements that we asked the teachers to do throughout the year. Then if you look at the next part, there are, except for first grade.
Excuse me.
I'm sorry, I can go forever. You can stop.
I was just listening to you, and
okay.
this isn't meant to be negative, but you were explaining that, and this open writing sample is great, but you
don't
mentioned
have
the
this?
context of preparing them for the NEOP and Iowa tests, which is fine, and I understand the process we're going through, but really, we're not, I mean, it gets back to concerns I've had before, that we're teaching to the test. I mean, I'd rather had heard that teaching them for the types of writing assignments they'll have to do in the real world
We're
later
going to.
down the road.
I'll get to
Rather
that,
than-
but
okay.
I mean,
I'm
I
sorry,
felt
didn't mean
that.
to take your thunder out. but
That's okay.
It just makes me cringe to think that
Oh.
we have to, I understand we have to, but that we're teaching to the test, and our instruction is being geared specifically to the types
It's
of
only
questions
one
seen in the
part
test.
of the whole. We have, 4 sections,
Okay.
and 3 of them are preparing them for life writing. And the 4th one is actually responding to their reading, which I think you not only get on, you not only get on the kneecap, but think about when you are in high school.
Right.
In college, you have to respond to things that you
It's
read,
just an observation, and maybe it's off base, but.
Okay, and so if you look at the different units, if you look at unit number 1, what we also tried to do was to take the 6 traits of writing, which all your teachers have been trained in, and to incorporate those in the different units. And what we did as a reading team is we looked at the genres that they were going to be working on and which 6 trait would fit the best with those genres. So if you looked at Unit 1 in grades 3, they're going to be working on idea development for their 6 traits of writing. And then the 2 pieces of writing that they're going to be asked to do within the 6 weeks is a description of a character and a personal narrative, which would be like a story type writing, where they need a lot of details in order to develop both of those. So the teacher is given a book like this, okay? Karen Peterson and myself, we put them together. And in the first unit of this, we put everything from the core program that went along with descriptive writing of the characters and personal narrative. We then took all the lessons that went along with the 6 traits idea development at the 3rd grade level. We placed those in this folder. And in the end, we've got resources, other resources that they could use to support that particular type of writing. So that if you are a new teacher to the district, or if you're the 4th grader teachers at our school, they say this is their Bible, because everything is in here that they need for their lessons, and it's all organized in a sequential order. In the second unit, the focus is on how to do a report, and so we incorporated the organizational part of the 6 traits in there, because that shows them how to sequence and order things which you need when you're writing, and how to report, how to do something. And then the other thing that they're working on in the second unit is writing a summary. So you can see that all of these things are truly life-based, things that you're going to have to do when you go to high school, to college, and out into life. Unit 3, we took this unit to review both idea development and organization in the 6 traits. They're going to write a friendly letter, which comes from your local benchmarks. And then in the core program, they're asking them to write a compare and contrast letter, which is a nonfiction type of writing. Unit 4, we put word choice in there because they're going to be writing poetry. And then the writing workshop is story. And then in Unit 4, we put voice, because voice is where you try to persuade people, because they had to work with an ad and a persuasive letter. So we tried to gel the 6 traits with all of the genres that were on the benchmarks as well as the core program. At the end of the Unit 6, they're going to be doing a research report at each grade level. And also in here, they have to be able to write about a picture or do caption writing, which goes along with the research report. So we tried to tie these things as closely as we could together so that they would make sense for the children. That was the first part. Are there any questions on that? Okay.
Questions? Nope.
Okay, the second part, boy, that was good. And he's got his red pen out over there. The second part Mark asked me to address was, how do the teachers actually go out scoring this? Because this can be very subjective, scoring writing. But the program itself provides us with wonderful help. Okay. First of all, we use the 6 traits of writing. And each grade level and every teacher in the program is provided with these writing rubrics and anchor papers. And what I did, because the samples that I typed up for you, because I didn't bring the children's actual writing, but I typed up all their mistakes on there so you can read it in print, was a how-to report. I gave you an example of the rubric that came with the how-to report. In Londonderry, we use the 5-point rubric. For a child to score 5 points on a how-to report, in idea or focus, they call it, okay, they have to focus on the topic. They have to talk about what the question is asking them. And they have to give all the details, or in this case, all the steps that you would go through in order to produce that product. In their organization, are they putting them in a logical order? That's what you're looking, is the first thing they put, the first thing that you do. Children, some younger children have difficulty with that. Voice differs according to the particular type of writing that you're doing. Okay, in a how-to report, it would be a more formal voice that they would be using there versus if they were writing a joke, or an ad would be a persuasive voice. Word choice, they're looking for transitional words. And what's really nice about this program is whatever they ask you to write about is also the focus of what is in their reading program. So they have been learning in their reading program words of sequence that good writers use, and then they are asked to use those as they're writing a how-to report. It's all tied in together. Clear sentences. Do they begin their sentences in different ways? And in this case, with a how-to report, do they use commands? Because you're telling someone how to do it. Okay. And then conventions. I actually, when I do it, I look and count up how many errors are there, especially in the upper grades, and we can determine, what their score is going to be based on the number of errors that they've had. And so they give this nice little rubric for every type of writing. I don't want to bore you with it, but every type of writing that is asked for. There's a personal narrative, a how-to, story, compare and contrast. So there's a rubric for every specific type of writing. They not only do that, but in your packet, I put the anchor papers. The company has come out with anchor papers that the teachers can actually use when they're scoring their students. This makes it a little bit more accurate between teachers because they can actually read. This is a 1. This is what a 2 would be like. This is what a 3 and a 4. They do not have a 5 in here. 5s are the superstars. You could see those right off. What I always say to my teachers, especially the new ones that have never done this before, I say, read all the papers first and put them in piles. Okay, above, average, below. The above and below are very easy to find. They're very easy. The hardest ones are the ones in the middle. Sometimes I've read a piece because I'll help the younger teachers or the new teachers. I'll help them score. I've read one, I think, 5 times to look at each one of these different traits to see where that one belongs. But the high and low are very easy to determine. And so by using these that come from the company, I think that there's more of a consistency even across grades, across schools. I don't think you could get really a better way of establishing some type of consistency. Your scores are going to average out around a 3 because a 3 is an average. And the more students that you are putting into your numbers to figure out the average, it's going to go toward the average. Okay? So that's how we use anchor papers. And I threw some 3rd grade writing in there, but I don't think we have time tonight, but I thought it might be fun to see if you could take your red pencil and figure out what a 1 was and what a 2 and what a 3 was. But we don't have time tonight, but in your leisure if you want to. I put the easy ones.
Do you have any questions for Sharon, board members?
I get the feeling, though, it's more than a red pen.
It
that
is.
You're looking, you have a base with what the company's provided you, and you study those. The instructor studies those and reads through them all, and then has an understanding of where everyone should fall. And then you don't look at the papers for individual errors. You're looking at the papers as a whole.
You look at the
Then-
papers for all of the 6 traits. Absolutely. In the olden days, when I was in school, conventions were what they put a strong emphasis on. And so people who were very talented writers, but awful spellers, okay, were being down for that and sometimes discouraged. But today we look at all of the areas of writing rather than just one, which I think is good because many wonderful writers are out there who just need a good secretary or spell check. And so
How many units are there? We've looked at 3 here, but are there 6? Or?
this is all 6 units are there.
There are, Ben, to answer your question, we have, many of our teachers are through Unit 4, or pretty close to it at this point. There are 6 units in most of the grade levels. There might be at the primary levels, maybe
First grade has 5.
five
And then
units.
when we do this assessment, is that a full class period that's assigned to
I
the
think you
assessment?
could, yeah.
It takes them, they give them about an hour to do it. This is unassisted,
Right.
okay?
So we devote 6 days,
6 hours.
6
6 hours.
6 hours to the writing
to
part.
the writing
right.
section during the course of the year. And then,
That also replaces, in the past, we were doing writing prompts 3 times a year.
Okay.
And so this replaces
oh,
the
it's not in
writing,
addition to?
Yeah.
it replaces the writing prompts.
Okay.
John?
One of my personal biases is that writing is something of an art as well as a science, and has a certain degree of fun and joy that needs to be attached to it to encourage someone to do it and do it well. Is there any impact on that? Either make it more joyous or less joyous, more fun or less fun?
Because of,
Through these processes? What's the reaction from students?
I'm not in the classroom, so I was for a while teaching writing in the classroom, and I can tell you the benefit and how the children. Last year I used to teach writing in the classroom, and what I would do is they would do a piece of writing first. Okay, so they do their free write or their creative writing first, and then suppose I was working on idea development. I would do a lesson on idea development, and then I would have them go back into their piece and pick a section of their piece that they thought they wanted to improve or work on. And I would tell them, I'd model what to do with the piece of writing, and then they would try it on their piece. And this was 5th grade, but they really loved it because they could see the difference just by learning that one little skill. If you try to do too much too fast, they get discouraged. I think the key is let them go and let them use their creativity and write. And then when you're in the revision stage of it, then practice and teach the skills and have them apply it to their writing, because they really do like to see how it changes. Not 1st grade, though. At 1st grade, that's the way it is. You don't change it. You don't, nope, this is it. You don't add, you don't change. But the older children, 3rd up, they really like to see the change that it's made in their writing.
Thank you.
You can also ask the teachers that.
The last piece this evening that I'd like to share with the board is really the classroom level experiences. And this evening I have with you several of our piloting teachers who are now in their 2nd year. They just want to give you just a few minutes at each of their grade levels, overall experiences, and what their colleagues and what student reactions have been on the core program. So I'll start with our kindergarten level with Julie at Moose Hill, Julie Blanchett, and she'll just give you a brief perspective at kindergarten.
Hi. I was talking to the teachers at lunches, just gathering our ideas together. The thing that we were most concerned about when getting the program was time, because we have a half-day program, fitting it all in. So we've really worked hard on hitting target skills, but taking away parts of the program that were more intended for full-day curriculum. So in that, we've utilized our educational assistants in the classroom, our reading specialist, our inclusion teacher, to make sure that each child is still receiving individual instruction each day. So they're still getting at least 15 minutes plus other reading activities throughout the day, but 15 minutes of solid direct reading instruction from a teacher in small group at their ability level. We have 5 units that we cover throughout the year. There are 6 units to the program, but the 6th unit, with the guidance of the program advisors that we had last year, is a review unit. So that piece they've suggested that we take out so that we can fit it into our program. So, like I said, we've done lots of planning and working on the program to make everything fit, but I think we've done a great job in just working out the problems and that we had seen last year to make it really work this year. The benchmark tests we find are appropriate. It almost seems like we were teaching above what the benchmark level or the benchmark test is assessing. So, as we saw earlier, the high frequency words, the children are responsible to be, or we're exposing the children to 40 sight words or high frequency words throughout the course of the year. So on the benchmark test, they might have 10 that they're for Unit 1 and so forth and so on. So each time we're assessing to see their growth on that. And the best part, I think, about the program that we've talked about as teachers that we really enjoy is the comprehension piece of the program. That seems to be most beneficial. I think that's about it.
Any questions for Julie? Joining us, thank you very much, Julie. Joining us from first grade is Sharon Cornelison from North School.
I feel so short.
You can put the chair up, you know. There you
Thank
go.
you. Feel like I'm in first grade, sitting at one of those. I found using the program this year and last year that it's very, very comprehensive. You know, there's everything is there that I could be looking for a very complete reading program, which I really appreciate. The children definitely enjoy the songs and poetry that is included in this program. We start our day off with a song, and they just, at this point of the year, it's really interesting to see that by day 2 of the week, they already have the song memorized. They want to sing it. They're inviting Mr. Zakili in to hear it, Mrs. Colton in. I mean, they really enjoy it. And through those songs and stories and the books that the children are reading, the weekly theme is introduced. They've got a lot of great vocabulary that the children are being introduced to, and it's in a contextual so that the children can really understand the context of these words. And I find that they're using them, throughout the week, which I think before we didn't so much have that practice and carryover of these words that we were introduced. So I really do like that, and I think the children enjoy it also. The differentiated instruction plans that are provided, I think, give us a lot of extension activities to use with the children. And the children that may not be at that on level, there's a lot of practice and repetition of skills, which is great to have. The phonics skills throughout the program are very sequentially introduced. And I think that's something that across the district, that we can find that every classroom is working on the same skills, and we know that the same phonics skills are being introduced in all first grade classrooms. And I think that's really important. By the time the children get to the next grade, that they've at least been taught, and introduced these skills. They also give us a lot of materials for the children to practice these phonics skills for both in the classroom and at home. And I think that's been really beneficial too. The anthology stories that Mrs. Cullivan was referring to, the children very, very much enjoy every week. We do those like on a Wednesday, and what's great about it is they give us information for the children to learn about, for the like background information to lead up to the story, and I know the kids really enjoy that. Many of the stories have very famous illustrators and authors that the children will find in other books that they would find, in the library or something, and you'll hear them say, "Oh, we read something by that author," or that's the same illustrator, and it's very interesting to hear first graders talking like that when they're in the library. The program also provides us with leveled readers that we can use on a weekly basis, which are nonfiction, that also tie in with the same theme. And I find that it's great for a lot of, not to be sexist, but a lot of the boys, really do enjoy these nonfiction kind of stories, not just the fictional stories. And I think that's been great because they give us different levels for those books. So depending on what child what level your child is reading at, they do have that kind of book also available to them. The grammar skills are also very sequentially introduced, and what's really nice is that they are supported in the reading material that you're reading each week. Whatever the skill is that's been taught, you're going to find that throughout the stories. I guess there's a real extensive amount of practice materials that are given to us, and it gives us a lot of choice, you know, in what what we're going to use throughout the week and what we can send home for the parents, to also see what we've been using with the children. And I guess also a large part of the program that's been given to us as far as the assessment tool. I think that there's multiple tools given to us that we can use both on a weekly basis and at the end of the unit. So it's not just that we're just testing at the end of each unit, but throughout each week. You know, we're also looking at how the children are doing, not only like with spelling or something, but we can see how they're doing with their high-frequency words, how they're doing with comprehension. And in first grade, I know the children right now are very much enjoying their oral reading fluency. I mean, they can't wait to sit with me on a Thursday or a Friday and see if they've, you know, they'll say to me as soon as they're done, how many words did I get today in my 1 minute? You know, am I increasing? And I keep it on a little graph and they get to see. And for them, that's a little bit more immediate, I think, reinforcement. And it's also great for me to see how they're improving, you know, on their oral reading fluency. So that's been really helpful in the program.
Any questions for Sharon, first grade? Joining us, thank you very much, Sharon. Joining us in the middle of the elementary grades at third grade is Karen McCarty from South School, and she'll just give you a few moments on third grade.
We've been really happy with the program. We find that the students enjoy the anthologies and the discussions that follow the story. The children are always eager to come up to the reading group. As a matter of fact, they feel very hurt if they feel they've been skipped for one reason or another. They always let us know. I think it's my turn to read. The leveled readers are high interest. The students especially enjoy the nonfiction selections. Some of the students are working independently or in groups on research based on what they've read. This especially works well for the higher level students and the advanced students. They can work independently because we generally finish the anthology midweek or even on Tuesday. So then we get into the more independent work. The vocabulary is rich. The students get excited to see the vocabulary words in text outside their reading book. We like the selection tests, which are prepared for us after each anthology. We like using them as a teaching tool. The spelling program is great. It's giving the kids lots of skills. The practice pages are purposeful. They're learning lots of spelling rules, and I see their spelling improving on a daily basis on their everyday writing. It's wonderful to have the reading and language lessons all organized. The students are all using this, the same language in all the grades. And I think it's especially helpful for new teachers and substitutes. Getting used to the program does take months. I know when I started, I tried all kinds of ways to use the program. This way, that way, try it in the morning, try it in the afternoon. Lots of different trial and error kinds of things. But then after a while, you get into a rhythm, and every teacher has to kind of work it out because we have students that are pulled out for different programs. So once you get into the rhythm and the kids are used to it, teachers get used to it, and it really starts working well. The program moves along very quickly, and it can be challenging, especially for students without the background of being in the program for previous years. And we know it's going to get better as time goes on. Parents have been amazed at what we're teaching the children, and some of the parents are even getting on the internet to do some research on grammar skills that they've forgotten. Testing every 6 weeks is time-consuming, but on the other hand, we like the break from the program. We generally take the 6th week off, and just take a little breather after we get through the test. We put more emphasis on writing and reading perhaps a chapter book and working on projects. So that's about my summary.
Any questions for Karen on third grade? Okay, thank you. Thank you, Karen. At fourth grade, we have Gail Gumble here this evening from Matthew Thornton.
Hi. I was one of the pilot teachers last year for the Scott Forsman program. And as I've talked to my team members at Matthew Thornton, some of the positive aspects that we see for students and teachers is that this program has a scope and sequence. So we know where we're going, we review skills, and we do like that. We like that we're teaching specific reading skills. We know at what grade level reading skills are being taught. We have skills that the children have been learned in first, second, and third grade, and they come in knowing those, and then we teach new ones. We like the grammar, spelling, and writing that are all included because it's related to what we read. And it's consistent across the district, so we feel that the children at the elementary are essentially getting the same bits and pieces of information. Some of the not so positive aspects that we see, one of the biggest ones is that the unit tests are not consistent in terms of their ease or difficulty. For example, last year in fourth grade, when I gave Unit 1, Unit 2, Unit 3, we began to see those scores creep up as the children became used to taking these tests. Unit 4 hit, and they all bombed. And it's because of the Unit 4 test. As we would go and look at those tests and look at the questions and things the kids were asked, it's what we saw there was sort of inconsistency. It was a very difficult test. Some of the inferential ideas that the children were supposed to grasp were just really difficult for fourth graders. So that's a concern, and I think you also saw that at grade levels as well. Our other concern is that we do not have enough sustained reading for students. A lot of this text can be above what their independent reading level is, and often we read to them, or we'll play the CDs that come along with the program so that we can provide that access to this, to the core piece to all students. A good aspect of that is if you have students who are absent or students who need to repeat listening to that main selection, you have those CDs to back it up. Also, if there's a great deal of Spanish in it and you're not particularly adept at Spanish, it helps children get correct pronunciation. We're concerned that there's really no opportunity for students to apply these good skills that they use in the main selections in authentic reading. When children get into the third, fourth grade, they're looking forward to reading novels. They want chapter books where they can delve into, a plot and characters who are dynamic and are changing throughout the story. And they like discussing from day to day how those characters change, how the plot changes. And as teachers, I like having them think about last week what a character might have done and remembering that, and then talking about how the character or whatever has changed. And in these stories, which are different every week, there's not that opportunity. Our concern also is that this reading is reading to them. It is reading time. It's not wow, it's reading, it's reading. We're concerned that it's not fostering a real love and enjoyment of reading for pleasure. They have the beautiful anthology, which has some very engaging stories in it with some beautiful artwork. I think, as anthologies go, it's a lovely anthology. But not every story engages every child. Some stories, I feel their enthusiasm. They'll go to the library, they'll find books by that author, they'll want to talk more about that particular subject. And other stories, it's, okay, I read it, I've done my workbook pages, I'm done, can we move on? The test taking also can be an issue too. I wanted to address that because it usually takes me 2 reading periods to do the complete test because the children need sometimes 1 reading period just to do the comprehension, the grammar, and vocabulary section of the test, and then another reading period in order to do the writing prompt. So every time you have a unit test, there's 2 reading periods, 2 days, that's taken up by that unit test. Plus, I also use the selection tests. I don't always use them just as a test. I might quiz, or I might use them as a teaching tool to help prepare the children for how to take those unit tests.
Any questions for Gail?
Yeah, actually, I just want to explore that just a minute or two. And I guess I'll look to you ladies. Are some of those concerns consistent across grades?
I think there are differences among teachers about different things.
Okay.
I think you're going to hear a different take on things when I get up there.
Okay. And in those instances, what are we going to try to do to address some of that, or even explore, as Martha says, across different teachers thinking the same things, and how we're going to address those issues?
I think, George, and I'll answer first, Ron. You know, throughout the course of this implementation year, and even during the piloting year, the elementary administrators, the elementary reading teachers across the 4 schools, we have listened to their issues, their concerns. We have sought answers from the publisher and made adjustments as needed and necessary. We've been listening to folks this year, and as we look to adjust our pacing guide for next year, some of those issues will be addressed at the reading department level. I know Gail raised the issue of getting into novels. There is, as part of this program, and all teachers here know this, there is a guide on the side where you can inject novels into these units. So we will be looking at those and looking where appropriately we can inject full novels to address some of the issues that have particularly been coming at the 4th and 5th grade levels. So we listen to what everyone is telling us and taking appropriate steps. George.
Thanks, Mark.
I guess the question I have is, we have a lot of teachers, and I'm looking at Sue here, Ballard. Is this an area, now that we have a program like this, and I'm talking about all future items, that it's been in place for a couple of years, almost to do an action research paper or something similar to that on the implementation of a program, and so we can get a consistent voice from the faculty back, not Ron Campo or Ben Parker or Steve Young, but a consistent voice, and we ask those questions so we can come out with a position to see how the research and look at it after every 2 years as part of the plan to do a research paper. How's it coming out? Almost an evaluation type of deal for the entire staff to get that information back on that. I don't know if that's possible, but it almost seems like first year teachers, hey, there's the growing pains. I'm used to doing what I was doing, like I do at work. But second year, they put it in place, do an action research paper, and then make modifications. You make changes as you go along. But at that point in time, see how the program is truly working and how the staff, the faculty feels that it's working. I don't know if that's possible, to take a look at something like that.
Ben.
I'm puzzled again. The test has been, these tests have been validated?
That is correct. By the Wisconsin, I actually had it in your memo.
Right.
In fact, I do have the study here this evening, and you're welcome to take a copy with you. But the assessments, this program was based off of various state and national standards. The company, Scott Forsman, which is owned by Pearson, this program is literally used by thousands of elementary schools across the United States.
Given that it's validated, I was just curious how you interpret these scores. I'm looking through here, just from Unit 1 to Unit 2 to Unit 3. I mean, I mean, there are just instances where these scores are just seem
Right.
way out of line.
And I think when Martha comes up, I think some of these things can be explained. Number one, we are in our first full year of this program. And I think as you go up in grade level, particularly grades 3, 4, and 5, and I hope I'm speaking for all of the 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade teachers in this room. A number of the skills in this new program, our teachers have had to work vigorously, I guess would be the word, to front load to bring kids up to the level and expectations of this new program, since these are based on new state and national frameworks which it was designed off of. So I think as we go forward in this program and we look and we have this conversation 2-3 years from now, I would expect to see that we would see our students having greater understanding of skills in grammar usage and mechanics, like I pointed out earlier this evening, that was kind of an area that needing improvement. Those kinds of things, I think we will see our kids improve over time as the consistency of this new curriculum goes over the years. Nate?
Just one of the things to buttress what Mark is saying. Whenever you implement a curriculum that is spiraling in nature, where you have the skills building one on top of the other, and you introduce it so that now let's at the intermediate grades more than obviously the primary grades, what you do have in the initial years of implementation are dealing with issues like dealing with the language of the program. So just, is a noun, or is it, or what the terminology that is used, and also the particular skills that are taught. Because in a spiraling program, particularly one that is now cross-checked against the national and state benchmarks, they may not be in the same sequence that we had been teaching before. So now you've got some of those inconsistencies as you implement the new program. So on one level, over the first couple of years, you have things that, if you compare to previous programs and previous expectations of the state, are now a little bit out of sequence. That's one. Two, since they're out of sequence, you have a different set of spiraling skills, which also impact it too. And every once in a while, they will in fact merge, just as you see on the Unit 3 test or whatever. You're going to see a merging of spiraling skills that kids may not have been exposed to before, and off timing. So what you would expect to see is, over a period of time, with a spiraling curriculum, you will see a leveling out of those scores, a more consistent growth in those particular scores. The other thing, too, is when you look at the unit benchmark test, and one thing that we've got to keep in mind, too, just as you've got let's say in math, you've got a sequential curriculum, you don't necessarily expect kids who scored an 80 on the first unit test to keep on getting higher and higher scores as new skills are introduced. So you're gonna also see that. So when you look at the scoring sequence, I think what you're gonna have to look at, and this is part of the point Mark was taking out, is you look at the pattern that you see for the whole year. You're gonna see ups and downs on unit tests, just because there are different levels of skills required. You're combining different skills, looking for different things, particularly in inferential comprehension kinds of things. So you're going to see ups and downs. So because Nate Greenberg scored at the 90th, got 90% on Unit 2, and now we're asking for a more difficult level of skills in Unit 3, doesn't necessarily mean that Nate Greenberg is going to get a 93 or a 94. He may slide back a little bit. It's in the nature of the curriculum, nature of the program. But what we'd be looking for are patterns. So with the implementation of a reading program or a new math program, if you've got an adjustment in the skills, and particularly in a program that is spiraling in nature, you're going to see the inconsistencies, if you will, that you see in these scores, and buttress some of the comments that the teachers are making too. So that what you're going to have as you move to the intermediate grades, the kids more familiar with the program, the pacing, the language that is used in the program, and I think you're going to see slightly different results.
Yes, absolutely.
And that is a great explanation for everything but the fifth grade, which, if I'm reading this correctly, it looks like there's a lot of slippage, you know, like for example, vocabulary.
Yep.
The first raw number is 114, and it goes to 62, then it goes to 39. I mean,
Yep.
in each of the categories, you've got this downward spiral.
Again, Ben and Martha is now coming up to the podium, a fifth grade teacher from South School. I want to go back and reiterate, though, and I think particularly if you're looking at these higher grade levels, 4th and 5th grade, because we have all of our students now in this program for the first time, and teachers like Martha Miller and Pat Slozak and Gail, there's a lot of skill building that has to go on before they can get into the meat of the program. So I think these first years, you're going to see that ups and down swings on those unit benchmark results.
Well, so I can understand that up to 4. You see tremendous swings back
Yep.
and forth. And when we go from being exceptionally smart in kindergarten,
Right.
and it moves up and down. And
Yep.
the most blatant example is, I guess, the 3rd unit in 3rd grade, grammar and usage, just blows off the chart. All of a
Right.
sudden, previously they couldn't do it at all, and now everybody in the class can do it.
Right.
So they're above advanced at the advanced level. So I can understand that explanation. But in the 5th grade, it looks like it's just every unit they move lower and lower. And you're saying that's just the fact that they're called upon to have more skills per this program than they've had built into them through the 4th grade, I guess. I'm just trying to understand how you've interpreted that and what we're doing.
I would attribute to the fact that we have all of our 5th graders now in the core program, and I do see that skills that may have not been focused on are now being reinforced through this program, and you're going to see
I think
change. But I
if we
think
have Martha talk about
about
her experience, and then we can
think that
swing
would
back to this, I think that might give a better pretext.
And I'll definitely talk about the third
back.
unit. I've been a teacher in Londonderry for more than 30 years. I started as a new teacher with the basal, rare as a hen's teeth. We went from there to whole language, and we were creating our own comprehension questions, vocabulary, really, because nothing was out there that was really good. There are certain things out there, that were made by publishers, but nothing really that gave us consistency. I became extremely excited when I knew this program was coming in, and I begged to pilot it. I begged to have new material. Our spelling books before were giving rake, bake, cake, stale, male, things that children should be able to spell at an earlier level. Now they're spelling indisputable, armadillo. They're spelling words that really have meat and are part of our real world. So I begged to be part of the pilot teaching of this program. This is my 2nd year. There are so many tools. Sharon talked about the reading the rubrics and knowing how to use them. That's a complex skill that takes time. The reading materials at the 5th grade level, they are not boring. Imagine reading about Mahalia Jackson and listening to her, listening to the blues. Imagine reading about the Titanic or the Hindenburg, or about people that came from a new country to this country. The kids in my class are extremely excited about taking out their reading street book. It is not just reading, it is an excitement. The only thing they fight about is who will read with me. So, they do want to read with the teacher. They get to read with everybody else, but they want that time where they can read and show off their stuff. They do care about that fluency read. They do want to improve their words per minute. We share that information with them so that they have a tool to know how to improve themselves.
As far as so the grammar skills are high level. We're talking about antecedents in their pronouns. We're talking about complex and compound sentences, the difference between a dependent and an independent clause. I mean, this is a high level thing. And now a lot of the kids came into my class and they don't know what a noun is. They don't know what a verb is. And then we're asking them to use vivid verbs and adjectives in their writing. Well, they don't even know what really a noun or a verb is. They will try to use colorful language. But now all of us are using the same language to speak about pronouns, antecedents, and everybody has, just like mathematics that we went through with the changes with our program, we now have a common language of language. Now about the Unit 3 benchmark test. Imagine this. There is a story called Please Touch. This is one of the stories they really had difficulty with. And in the story, it's about a Navajo a man who goes to Vietnam and is injured. He loses the ability to use his hands. He loses his eyesight. He goes to a hospital, and at that time, they're using clay to sculpt. And, of course, the title is called Please Touch. Well, this man finds out that he has this talent. He begins to sculpt, and he creates all these wonderful sculptures without being able to see. And then, and during the thing, as we're reading, and these are not just simple write there questions. These are using analysis and synthesis of knowledge, which is higher levels of Bloom's taxonomy. They had this one sentence in there that says what he wanted people to do is to use their imagination, close their eyes, and feel the sculpture. Because they go into this museum, you can actually touch everything. Well, one of the questions is, what does the sculptor want you to do? Touch the objects? Close your eyes? Or something else? Well, kids get down to two answers. It's either please touch or maybe this other one. But the answer is to close your eyes, because he's blind. He can't see the things. So most of them put down, oh, general thing, I know what it is. Please touch, that's the title, that's everything. That's how they've been working for years on their comprehension. So I'm so excited that they have to go back and really find specifics in a story. I was in Joan Laurenti's class in first grade. They were doing a unit benchmark test. I was in there for a 3-minute walkthrough. The first graders were going back into text and underlining. I went back to my class and said, first graders can do it. You can do it too. My class highlights now. They go back and they try to find that those pieces. The hard part is, even for their parents or for me or for many times the teachers, you get down to two answers that seem close. But one, if you go back and not just get the general sense of the story, but you go back and really read the words, then you find why the answer is what it is. So I think what is happening is we're going to a higher level of synthesis and analysis of knowledge of their reading, and they're fifth graders. They did not have kindergarten, first grade, second grade, third grade, fourth grade. And these are complex reading comprehension strategies that, like with grammar, you can go back and front load and give them the prerequisites that they need. But this is more complex, taking time. And I think Karen said, well, it's going to take us months. I think to really become proficient as a teacher in this program, I need more than 1 year. This is my second year. I've gotten better. 3 years, I'll be better. And I have a joy of that. I have a joy of reading this material with the children. And it's not like just take out, this leveled, this thing about Mahalia Jackson and let's just read it. We listen to the blues. We think about the blues. We think about where she is, and she's not really the blues, but she's gospel. So, but where does it come from? Where do the roots of our culture come from? Our leveled readers are based on our social studies. So a lot of the nonfiction comes to our science and our social studies. And one of the things I love about this is I had one student who went all the way through Londonderry, and this child could not read as well as he would have liked. He was brilliant mentally. I mean, he had all the intelligence that you would want, but he had difficulty reading the written word. And he always said to me, when younger and when I saw him later, when they give me the material I can read, it's at a second grade intellectual level. The leveled readers have the same vocabulary that they're practicing, but at a different word count, at a different way the complexity of the sentences. And when I went to C3 and I showed them the leveled readers, it would be hard to figure out, quickly, which was an easy story, quote easy story, compared to a more difficult story. And anybody that was there knows that it was a high level of interest and intellect. So I'm very excited because I can see that we do need to move our children forward. The 6th grade and 7th grade and 8th grade teachers have been front-loading, teaching them nouns and adjectives, because the kids haven't seemed to be able to connect and keep it. And it's not that we haven't taught it, it's just not connect with it and keep it. And I think that's now because we're using the language of this program all through the district. So I'm very excited. I'm one of the teachers. Not every teacher feels excited, but it's a change. It's a scary change, and it is challenging for everybody, you know. And I think bumping everybody up to a higher level will increase their ability to get jobs in later life.
Any questions for Martha?
No, I don't think so. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Mark. All righty, moving along, Mr. Superintendent.
Yes, you have in your packet our enrollment update for dated 2/22/08, and you can see.
Before you guys run out, I just want to thank you very, very much for taking time and stopping in and filling us in on what's going on. We appreciate it. And keep up the good work. Thank you. I'm sorry.
It's okay. As you can see, we had an increase of 4 on enrollment for February. Our total enrollment, preschool through grade 12, including our sped out of districts, home study, and adult ed, comes to 5,429 students.
Thanks, Nate. Any questions on the enrollment for Nate? I just want to point out that, you know, we keep hearing about decreasing enrollments and everything else, and I'll just keep saying it every single time. This year over last year, we are down 0.6%. So as far as I'm concerned, that's statistically insignificant, and that's pretty level. Okay. Yes.
On the enrollments,
Yep.
Nate is, and maybe this is for Bonnie and others, but is there, I just am wondering, is there any way to capture those that are not in the system yet? I know this year Reed mentioned many activities going on the same day as town meeting. One of those activities was the Easter egg hunt. It's gotten so large that they moved that from the common over to the West Road fields, and there's lots of, as you would call them, little munchkins running around out there. I just, looking around the community on Kids Night, during Old Home Days, on the movie nights, in the summer, this Easter egg hunt, there's a lot of little ones.
Yeah.
I just wonder how they're going to hit us. You used to go to Parkland and get a number, but I think the recorded bursts this year in Londonderry were 2.
There's a website, and it was on a building committee, South School Building Committee. I'll go back, and I think our 5 and under population in town is right around 2,000, if I remember what the number was. It was right around 2,000. We have tried over the years trying to get a handle on exactly who is who. We've sent flyers out, we had posted, we had conversations. Maybe when people go to register their cars, they could fill it out. We just haven't had much in the way of success in getting a real hard number. When parents register their kids for school, we always ask, are they younger siblings? So we've tried a variety of methods at this point. I just don't know. Short of an official census,
Right.
Where we went almost door to door, it's becoming very difficult to say we got X number of kids.
I don't suspect it's going to get any easier either. Thanks, Nate.
You're welcome.
All right, go ahead, I'm sorry.
One quick one. Do we have what the current enrollment at Moose Hill is for next year?
Right now, we have 285, which is pretty good for this time of year. And so we're going to continue. We usually pick up more registrations as we go towards deeper into is it spring? Yeah, into the spring. And then we pick up some more during the summer. Then we seem to have a mini rush in August. and then a mini rush when school starts. So, be that as it may.
Is this comparable what we had last year?
It's ahead of, if I remember correctly, it's a little higher than what we had last year, right, Bonnie? And,
All right.
One more question. On the enrollments, and we look at this, and I know it's difficult, and I've tried different ways. Can we come up with what a third or four-year-old enrollment of the private schools are in the area? Because if I remember correctly, when we used to do the information on the enrollments, we used to take the birth rate, and there used to be a multiplication.
right,
If there were 300 or 250, it was a 1.8 birth rate, and that generally turned out what was in kindergarten. If we can get some years of history of, let's say, 3-year-olds that are in nursery school or that in the town, and then come up with some sort of projection over years, we may be able to not come up with a number, but come up with an estimate on that based on fact.
what we can do is we can, once again, do a survey of the private preschools to
Yeah.
try and get a number. And then we can do, with that number, what we do going from kindergarten to first grade. So let's say, over a period of time, if we've got, let's just pick numbers at random, 254-year-olds enrolled in preschool 1 year and 252, and then the following year, and then we see we have an enrollment of 310 kindergarten kids, just get the ratio between those two numbers, and that's how, which is what we've been doing going from kindergarten to first grade.
Exactly, that's what I'm
Yeah.
wondering if that would help. And even go after 3 and 4-year-olds, so we kind of look at it that way.
Yeah, and we can build up a history, and then we can take
Exactly,
it
and
from
we
there.
can come up with those numbers.
Yep.
Makes sense. Thanks, Ron. Thanks, Nate. Okay, the next item is the school board liaison list, and if the board would indulge me, if you guys just take a look and see what you may be interested in, send me that information, and this way we can just keep this meeting moving.
Yep.
So if you can get me that during the week, I'll get it together and get it to you, Nate. Thanks.
You're welcome.
And
Yeah, one other thing on
Yes.
this too, George.
Yep.
If we inadvertently miss the committee,
Yep.
please let us know.
Okay.
Okay, and the other thing is, you may want to, as the board goes through it, remember you grouped them A, B, C, D.
Yep.
If for any reason you want to change it, there you go. Huh?
we're going.
Too many liaison committees.
I know. Okay, then let's move to the say that 3 times fast. Deliberation. So Nate, is that you or
This is
Peter?
Peter.
Peter.
I'll take this one. What you have in
Okay.
your packet is as you know, the voters were kind to the school district in approving our bond article for the construction of down at South School. So what we have to do now is convert what was the Space Needs Committee for South School into a bona fide building committee. What we've done in the past is basically ask those members who participated in the Space Needs Committee, who wanted to stay on as a building committee, and just about everybody who was on the Space Needs Committee for South School has indeed asked to be part of the building committee, with the exception of Johanna Hayes, who did exceptional amount of work, and now needs to catch up on other stuff that she left behind for to help us out with South School. However, her husband has asked, James has asked to basically take her spot, which was fine as far as we're concerned. Just pick up Johanna's spot. Dan Beaver, who was a board member on the Space Needs Committee, has asked to stay on. It would be a community member. We're assuming Mr. Parker will stay on as one board member, but because of Dan moving, we have an open slot for a board member to be on this building committee. And we're already moving forward, we'll be moving forward in planning with Procon and Frank for the construction and replacement of the modules.
All right, well, let me start. Ben, are you willing to stay with that? Okay.
And I want to tell you that every evening when I come home from work, I see Dan wandering the streets. So I know he appreciates the opportunity now to have something to do, because there's this huge void in his life, and this will help fill it.
Well, Dan, I know you're watching because you've got nothing else to do on a Tuesday night.
Chair,
Yeah, absolutely.
if no one else is interested, I'd love to be on the building committee. I think it's good.
Is that okay? Anybody have a suggestion? No, you got it.
Thank you very much.
So the member is going to be Mr. Campo. Nate, do you need a motion?
Yes, I would like a motion from the board to approve the charge and the committee composition.
Okay, so I'll entertain that motion.
Mr. Chair, I move that we accept the charge for the South School Building Committee and the membership, if listed on the recommended membership listed by the superintendent.
I'll second that.
Thank you. I have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
5-0, Mary. And thank you to everybody in the community for volunteering and continuing on. We look forward to South School moving to the future.
The plaque can just say J. Hayes.
Plaque,
It
you
would
just,
cover
we just,
both.
look how much money we just saved, just like that.
But she did put a lot in.
She put
did.
tremendous
Actually,
amount.
she should
She did.
be thanked
A big
without a
asset
doubt.
to that project.
Absolutely. Overnight field trips.
Yes, you have two overnight field trip requests in here. One, obviously, is the Washington DC trip for the middle school, which is a yearly event. And the second is a request to participation in the annual New Hampshire All-State Music Festival.
Mr. Chair, I move that we accept both overnight trips.
All right, I have a motion
Second.
and a second. All those in favor accepting the overnight trips?
Aye. Mr.
5-0.
Chair, one comment. Nate, I'm looking at both these trips, and obviously they're trips that we would approve. But if we were to say no, there's no time to say no. And I thought our policy gave us some additional information here. It says these needs to be on this form here, which is, I don't think the one we hear, 1 week prior to the activity. That virtually doesn't give a time to look at it. So can you take a look at the timing of forms as we start to,
Sure.
for September of next year?
Absolutely.
Can you take a look at that?
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you.
No problem.
Okay, the next item we have is the proposed school board calendar.
Right, you have in your packet, proposed school board meeting calendar through March 24th of 2009.
Mr. Chair, I make a motion, we accept the calendar.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor accepting the calendar? Aye.
Aye.
5-0, Mary.
Okay,
And can we just get that posted?
pardon me?
Can we get that posted onto the website?
Certainly.
Thank you.
Be happy to do that.
Thank you. And proposed 2008-2009 school calendar.
In your packet, you have the proposed school calendar for the upcoming school year. Our major vacations match those of Alverne and Manchester, so that our youngsters that go to the
Oh, good.
vocational tech schools are not off cycle.
That's great. Thanks.
Mr. Chair, I make a
Yes.
motion, we accept the 2008-2009 Londonderry School calendar.
Second.
Thank you. I have a
Mr.
motion
Chair,
and a
I have
second.
I have a comment.
Yep.
We received an email, the school board, concerning the November calendar and how many days we have off on it. And when you look at the calendar, there's a lot of days off on it. However, you have Thanksgiving, which is the holiday there, and it's a 2-day holiday, and according to contract, there's a third day on there, hooked on there. Veteran Day is a day that we're legally obligated to take off by the state. We also have the Parent-Teacher Conference Day. It would be nice to move that, but that's the end of the marking period for the trimester, so there's no way to move that one. And the only other thing we have in here is a teacher workshop, which looks like, there's something we can move. But it's set on Election Day.
Right.
With a presidential election, we would not be able to have high school that day because of the parking facilities for everyone there. So that forces us into making that another day. So while it has 14 days of school in November, there's not anything that we can move out of that much to increase the time. And we would like to do it, but there's nothing there that makes sense.
Thank you, Ron, for handling that.
Just a
Yes?
quick comment, Jim was the one that worked on this calendar, and I'd like to, Mr. Elefante, I'd like to thank him.
The soon-to-retire Mr. Elefante. Worked on next year's calendar.
The very outgoing Mr. Elefante.
Oh, thanks, Jim. Thank you very much. I know it's not an easy task, and we appreciate it. Okay, I have a motion on the floor and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Mr. Chair, I was wondering if Mr. Elefante could come up here and explain, we saw the email on the Memorial Garden.
Yes.
Would you like to just let the community know what's happening there, please?
About a week or so ago, probably 2 weeks now, Ed Thibodeau, who was the first principal of Londonderry High School, and who remained principal from 1976 to 1996, passed away. At the high school, we have a memorial garden, which was actually Ed's vision and dream, which we memorialize any student, faculty, or community member who has passed away. And it's behind the high school, and I remember the days when Ed used to go out there and weed that garden. So we thought it would be a fitting tribute to Ed to name the garden the Ed Thibodeau Memorial Garden. So on May 21st, which is an early release day, but we have a ceremony at 2 o'clock. And we're going to have, it's going to be a small ceremony. We're going to be inviting his family, teachers, but it's open to the public. Any school board member or anybody in the public who would like to join us, we're going to have a little ceremony dedicating the garden to Mr. Thibodeau. And we are taking donations. Right now, as when Ed passed away, he had offered up in lieu of flowers or anything to give donations to Ed Thibodeau Scholarship, which he had set up when he retired. So we've been getting some donations to that, and we're also taking donations for the Ed Thibodeau Memorial Garden, because we want to honor Ed appropriately in that garden. And we have a committee at the high school now made up of mostly teachers that started when Ed started, and a few administrators planning those activities. So we'll keep the board in touch and let you know. And anybody who wants to make a donation to that garden can send a check to Londonderry High School, made out to Londonderry High School, and maybe in the memo just say Memorial Garden. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. That's a fitting tribute to Ed. And Sue, can you get that information on the website? Thank you. And that is all regular business.
Mr. Chair, make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned.
We're on the air.
Yes, exactly.